everybody, welcome back. It's your girl Ned Zing. Today is a video that I created for y'all. So, as some of you may know, I did a movie review on Zootopia 2, which you can check out on my channel. And it was probably one of the longest movie reviews I have ever done. And the unedited version was a little over 2 hours, which was a lot. You know, it was a very exhausting day to record all of that. So, and originally the edited version was still too long. It was about like an hour and 45 minutes, which I was like, that is way too long. Like, I had to cut it way down. I had a huge chunk of footage of me talking about one of the biggest topics on social media, and still to this day, it's still a big topic, and it's WildeHopps, which is the shipping term for Nick and Judy, which are the two main characters of Zootopia. And I discussed about why I believe they were a canon, explaining all the evidence from the movie, the interviews with the cast and the directors, the merchandise, the advertisements for the movie, and I was also comparing them with another animated couple that had similar scenes and developments in their relationship. So I unfortunately had to cut that part out of the movie review, which made it a lot shorter. I was like disappointed because I thought like, oh my god, I had a lot of good context about, this particular subject. After I posted the movie review, I was like, you know what? I should make another video. I should make a whole nother video of me just talking about WildeHopps. So yeah, what I'm about to show you, and by the thumbnail of this video, it clearly states that I will be explaining why WildeHopps is happening. I can prove it by showing a lot of evidence that supports this. And for anybody out there, if you are anti-shippers or you're still going down that path of there's no romance between Nick and Judy, I recommend you to watch this. I am so happy that I made this video, and also for fun, I also created a little introduction of WildeHopps, which you will see in a bit. And yeah, I'm proud for making this video, and I hope this will make a lot of you happy. Also, if you haven't, please subscribe to my channel to check out my other videos, including my movie review on Zootopia 2. And also, for fun, there's also a little bit of like my audience recordings of me reacting to the movie when I saw it in theaters with my friends. But anyway, enjoy this video.
Nick and Judy, there's this odd couple, and odd couple, and odd couple, and odd couple.
I love seeing Nick and Judy evolve as a couple. I love that there's a lot of discussion out there. We've got the shippers, and we got folks who just want them to
Did
stay
you just
friends.
confirm they were a couple, Byron?
Yeah.
That's canon now.
In the first movie, I mean, you guys, Judy and Nick became friends. In this movie, they're working out partnership, so, they're trying to learn some new things about each other. So with everything...
We're getting dangerously close to the sort of opposites attract and tension is humor problem with this. Like, they're starting to really like each other a lot. Is it like a moment of, I think I am having feelings for you, or I think there's resolution to this, or I know it?
You do so many versions of, what if they do say it? What if they don't say it? What if you use these other words instead, but that's what you mean?
Make you care about a fox and a rabbit that have absolutely way too much chemistry.
If they make Judy and Nick get together in the third movie, this will have been the most delicious slow burn that Disney has ever accomplished.
I ship these two characters. I love their relationship that we see grow in the first movie. Like, the way that they're interacting, there's so many signs, so many hints, I feel like, that they've thrown in here that where these two are headed is to a romantic relationship. It's what those two deserve, is each other. So many hints, I feel like, are pointing to that direction.
That being said, I want Judy and Nick to the chemistry's too good.
I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I see it.
What the Why was that like the best love confession I've ever heard in my entire life? And it was a
box. Because the romantic tension between Nick Wilde and Judy Hopps is expressly part of the text.
Point as they're not only partners, but it seems like they could be romantic partners as well.
Now, the biggest part about this movie that is driving people insane, and it's becoming a hot topic on social media, and that is Nick and Judy and their partnership, and that WildeHopps is almost becoming a canon. I'm telling you right now, there's no way in hell that this is platonic. No way. Like, there's way too many signs. There's way too many romantic implications. Like, no, I'm not buying the platonicness. Like, platonic my ass. Like, this is not platonic at all. I can list 100 things of all the signs of WildeHopps becoming a canon, and it's not just the movie or the trailers, the promos, the commercials, or the interviews with the cast and the crew. It's all over social media. It's the merchandise. Animators are talking about it, and different countries are referring to Nick and Judy as a couple. There was 2 animators, you know, one, it was posted on a story of like a Q&A, like ask them questions about Zootopia 2 or something. And someone asked this particular animator if WildeHopps was going to be a thing, if it's a canon, and, you know, if it's going to happen in this movie. And their answer was, I don't know how to answer that, and just gave up this, and you know, the eye emoji like this, and it had the photo of Nick and Judy, you know, Gary wrapped them up like the poster, and the song that he chose was Love Story by Taylor Swift. And that just drove people nuts, like, oh my god, I think we just got the answer. And then the other one was like, you know, someone was recording, you know, all the employees and animators that worked, you know, on Zootopia 2. They were putting their signatures on all these Zootopia 2 posters that probably were given to all these other employees. And this person goes to a particular Zootopia 2 poster and puts the camera down, you know, to the corner of the poster, and it shows a drawing of Nick and Judy kissing. And the meme, like that, you know, certain meme of like 2 characters kissing. Someone drew that as Nick and Judy, and everybody was just like, wait, why did this person draw that? Who drew that? Like, what does that mean? What do they mean? Why did they draw that in the Zootopia 2 poster? Is this supposed to mean something? And you know, like, there's been photos of like the animators wearing headbands of like Nick and Judy holding a heart in a romantic way. It's not platonic. I did not know this, but Disney has like a wedding collection, which I did not know. And a couple months ago, they revealed their new wedding collection, and it's Nick and Judy. Like, Nick and Judy have their own wedding collection, which is like, but people think they're not a couple. It's not officially a couple. They're just friends. Well, why is there a wedding collection of them? And not just that, they even have their own rings. And also, like, there was a promo on Instagram, you know, it's the classic, you know, that they did with the first movie of the selfie, you know. The first one was like Nick trying to do a selfie, and then Judy's trying to, like, you know, photobomb, like try to get in the selfie, and Nick keeps pushing her, and it's just like, you know, and then they finally have a selfie together. And now this one, it was the reverse, that Judy was taking the selfie, and then Nick barges in to, like, you know, join the selfie. And one of the things that they do, and this is not platonic, is that they do the heart shape, this part, like, yeah, they were doing that. And I'm like, wait a minute. Why are they doing that? Why are they making a heart-shaped selfie? If they're friends, why are they doing that? And I don't want to hear people like, oh, even platonic friends can do the heart-shaped thing. I don't do that with my friends. This one, okay, this is no ambiguous. This is not like, it could mean woulda, shoulda, coulda. No. So Disney India posted this on Instagram. It was part 2, like part 1, part 2 post, that based on your birth month, it's going to reveal of what your Disney couple is. So, like, for example, if your birthday's in May, then your Disney couple is Anna and Kristoff. If it's February, it's Ember and Wade. So all these couples are official. But if your birthday is in July, your Disney couple is Nick and Judy. And then they have, and it literally says love story, and they have the song Love is an Open Door from Frozen. Out of all the other Disney couples that they show on the birth months, they're all official, but this particular one isn't exactly official. But people are still saying they're friends. I don't think so. And not just India, but like China, Shanghai, they're all promoting this movie like it's some kind of rom-com, and they're all shipping Nick and Judy. Like, I know like China has a big, thing of WildeHopps. Like, everyone in China ships Nick and Judy. In Shanghai, Disneyland, someone posted a video of Nick and Judy, mascots, that they kiss. Not like a little nose kiss or a kiss on the cheek, like an actual kiss. And I probably will show a photo of it, but someone posted saying, wait a minute, why were they allowed to do that? If they're friends, they should not do that. Why? Because, I don't know, they said like with mascots, they're told of what to do and what not to do. And, they said one of the things is like, don't kiss unless it's allowed for certain reasons. And so people were saying, oh, the mascots, they're able to kiss. So what does that mean? But I don't know. That was one that I remember everybody was just like blasting all over social media. And like the directors are calling them soulmates. They hardly use the word friendship or friends. And you mostly hear them say either partnership or relationship. And some of the merchandise, that have to do with Disney couples, they have Nick and Judy a part of that. Like for example, there's Disney couple Valentine's Day pins, of the couple that will hold like a string of like hearts or something. I guess you know what I'm gonna say. Nick and Judy have one too. And they're added to Disney couple selection, the wedding dresses, the reins, you name it. This movie has so much romantic implication, and there's some things that no friend is saying or doing to their other friend. And it's not just us. It's not only us that ships them. Even some of the characters from the movie ships them. Like Nibbles. I think Nibbles actually thinks they're a couple, because why would she say, oh, trouble in paradise? Because she thinks they're a couple, and the way she looks at them is like, there's something going on between you two. And here's another thing, the walrus, the part when, Nick and Judy want to go meet Jesus, and then Nibbles calls, I forgot the name of the walrus, but like it's the part when she goes, hey bub, blah, blah, blah. And then the walrus offers Nick and Judy a ride to this bar. And if I can remember, Nick says something to her, and then Judy says, happy anniversary. And I'm like, Judy, you do know if you say happy anniversary in public around other animals, they're going to assume romantically. And that's what the walrus did. The walrus heard her say happy anniversary, and then he goes, oh, it's your anniversary? And he turns on these like heart, these warming lights that's very kind of have a romantic vibe. And then you hear the song from Lady and the Tramp, Bella Notte, which is the famous, song from the scene with, Lady and the Tramp eating the spaghetti. It's a very romantic song.
Thank you for this.
Happy anniversary.
Oh, it's your anniversary?
This is the night, it's a beautiful...
But they never said like, oh, no, we're not a couple, or, oh, no, we're not boyfriend, girl. They don't say anything. They kind of like, like Nick's kind of annoyed, Judy's kind of like, like, okay, this is awkward, but they still let it happen. Like, it's insane. And there are some that is like, okay, that's definitely romantic. This is not ambiguous. It's not, yeah, it might be romantic, or it can be platonic as well, or it's 50-50. No, it's 100% happening, guys. Because now, more and more people are starting to feel the romance blossoming. I even heard like some anti-WildeHoppers are slowly going to our side of shipping them. Of like, you know what? At first I didn't ship them. I thought they'd be better off friends, but now after seeing the second one, I think they should be a couple, which that's a pretty big thing. And even though it's not entirely official, but we do know it's going to happen soon in the third movie. Now, I'm going to try my best to keep this straightforward as I possibly can, because there is so much to discuss about WildeHopps, like from the movie, Nick and Judy's character development, and also I want to address certain things that people had a problem with or they're confused about, which I think is worth being discussed. And there's a lot of parallels of other romantic movies, and not just romantic movies, but another animated couple. So let me start off with this. So many people are confused on the timeline between the two movies, because some people are thinking, oh, it's been weeks, you know, or months, or oh, Nick and Judy only knew each other for weeks, and you know, no, that's not right. And the directors even said it's longer than that. I think it's maybe been a year or a little over a year, because, you know, they spent 48 hours to solve the case, and then there was the press conference, you know, that had them split up, and then they haven't seen each other, I'm guessing like 7, 8, 9 months, because there is a scene when they reunite, they meet up with, you know, Mr. Big, and we see Frou Frou is pregnant, and she looks almost close to her due date. So I think that's how long they've, you know, haven't seen each other. Okay, now before you say anything, let me clarify that. So when I was editing this video and I was watching this bit of me talking about how long that Nick and Judy haven't seen each other and stating that Frou Frou was like about 8 to 9 months pregnant, I was like, that is not accurate. And because Frou Frou is a shrew, she's very small, so there's no way that she would be pregnant for 8, 9 months. And, you know, the timeline wouldn't make sense. So I did my research, and it states that shrews are pregnant for a period of 18 to 30 days. So I apologize for the misinformation. I was just thinking of like the typical timeline of like pregnancies, you know, for humans, without realizing that it's different when it comes to animals. So again, want to clarify. So Frou Frou would be about 18 to 30 days pregnant. So that would mean that Nick and Judy haven't seen each other for either like a couple weeks or close to a month. So I just want to reassure that. So let's get back to the video. Then they solved the case, you know, and, you know, arrested Bellwether. And then after that, Nick then goes to the police academy, which I don't know how long, but I'm assuming it's months, but maybe like a couple months or maybe 6, 8 months. I don't know. I know it's months. And then he becomes a police officer, and then they become partners for a week. So the timeline is probably close to being a year, and that they know each other but haven't really been, you know, together as often. And when it comes to solving this case in the second one, it does challenge them to work together and to push their differences aside. And then that's when, you know, they really start to know more about, you know, each other, and that they need to be more of a team rather than just working individually. So I'm starting off with Nick Wilde, my absolute favorite. Ever since the first movie, Nick has always had this charming personality, and the way he looks at Judy and the way he treats her, it's not how friends treat their friends. And the way he looks at her doesn't give any platonic vibes. It feels so romantic and a lot of flirting and charm and all of that. Like every scene of those two together, he always looks at her. Like I've noticed, like there's never been one scene that he doesn't look at her. Like he always takes a glimpse at her and, you know, does the smolder and, you know, being so flirtatious, like every single scene of them together. Like the gala scene, you know, when he sees Judy wearing the dress, you know, looking like Belle from Beauty and the Beast, which that was the director's intention. And, you know, they're looking at the building and she's like, oh, I've always wanted to infiltrate a place like this. He looks at her and he smiles like he's in love, like he loves, like she's so beautiful, and she does the same thing to him. And you know, like at the beginning when they pretend to be a couple, you know, and Nick calls her, right, babe? And I'm like, oh, you called her babe? And then, you know, when he goes through this like over dramatic scene of like, oh my God, we just want to have a good day and just enjoy the view. And then when he mentions the baby boy, he was just like, oh, and all we wanted to do was to celebrate our birthday boy. And he looks at her and I'm like, why are you looking at her? Like, what are you thinking? Like, I know what you're thinking when you're saying, baby boy. Why do you have to look at her when you say that? So that, and then calling her babe, you know, he says certain things like, oh, miss me already? Or the classic love you, partner. And there's even been some moments that like, he looks like he wants to make a move. Like there's times I'm looking at him and I'm like, dude, you look like you want to grab her and kiss her. Like I feel like there's sometimes that he's trying to restrain himself by not doing it. And I'm just like, because it's like, how can you look at her for so long and not once think about doing something? So I feel like he even restrains himself to even make a move. And of course, like, Nick's behavior changed drastically from the first one, you know, from being like this sarcastic, demeaning hustler to now being like this caring, charming, protective partner, and, you know, totally changes the way he sees Judy. I feel like in this movie, he was the one struggling the most with his emotions, and I was also thinking, like, he's not fully realizing how he feels about Judy, which is probably one of the main things why he's so insecure and just kind of like, I don't know what's going on, or, you know, kind of going crazy. And I think the jail scene was the moment that he was starting to kind of notice how he feels and noticing certain things of why he was feeling the way he was feeling, or doing the things he was doing that would lead, you know, him to believe that maybe he feels more for Judy than just caring about her, or maybe wants something more than just being partners with her.
Because solitary animals like me don't have real friends. And I don't want to lose her. So I don't know how to say that.
So with Judy Hopps, I don't know why, but there's been so much negativity on how people think that she's selfish, she doesn't care about Nick or his well-being, or she left him behind when she went with Gary and Paulbert. And I'm just like, did we watch the same movie, or did you not understand why she was doing these things? Yeah, she was being reckless because she wants to solve this case. So A, show that her and Nick make great partners because Chief Bogo said to her, like, if you fail, I'm going to split you up. And she doesn't want that to happen. And B, wants to prove that her and Nick are innocent, that the Lynxes are the culprits, and, you know, they are not the original owners of the book, and that they were framed for murder. So she doesn't want to be a fugitive for the rest of her life. She wants to solve this case and to prove that her and Nick are not, you know, that they didn't do anything. With her leaving, listen, she didn't entirely leave him. She was wanting to go with Paulbert and Gary because she saw Nick get tackled by one of the CBD officers, so she assumed that he was already taken into custody. And then when she reaches out for Paulbert, that's when Nick calls her name and she looks and then gets tranquilized, and then Paulbert and Gary leave with her. If she wasn't tranquilized, maybe she would have stayed. But we got to understand that she wants to solve this case, help Gary, and if she did stay, then the CBD would have caught her and then put her in jail along with Nick, and then that would have been it for both of them. You know, her career would have been over, her life would be done, and then that would be the end of the movie. So for people saying, like, you know, she shouldn't have left, well, you should know what would happen if that was the case. And she does care about Nick. And when she was with Paulbert and Gary, all she was thinking about was Nick. Like, she was worried about him constantly. So it wasn't like she was with Paulbert and Gary and just completely forgot about Nick and just carry on solving this case without even thinking one bit of him. Like, that wasn't the case at all. And even when she got poisoned, she was thinking about Nick. She wasn't thinking about herself. She wasn't thinking about the case. She wasn't thinking about, oh, I didn't make the world a better place. No, all she was thinking about was Nick. And she even tried to go to the door to, like, warn Nick, even though she knew that she would never make it in time. Which I actually like that they showed this. But when she's almost completely out of it and she's barely conscious, and there's like a scene, you know, when Gary is fighting with like the hippo and the rhino, some of the CBD officers that just came in and wanted to take like Gary or something, but Gary was holding Judy. There's a part that, like, she's barely conscious and slowly opening her eyes, and she looks at the monitor that's very tiny, and it shows Nick and Paulbert fighting while Gary is fighting with the, you know, CBD officers. She wasn't focusing on that. All she was focusing was the little tiny monitor that was showing Nick. That's all she was watching. She didn't see this big fight that Gary was having with the CBD officers. And people are saying that she doesn't care. One thing that I definitely want to address, People have said that, like, she is not in love with Nick, or she's not showing any signs of being romantically attracted to him. You're right. You're right. I don't think she was at first, but since her character development has changed drastically, there are certain scenes that is leading up to her to start having romantic feelings for him. And let me explain that. Ever since the first movie, the love of her life was her job, being a police officer. That was always the one thing that she loved, was being a police officer. And she was pretty much married to her job. So being a police officer was her number one priority, and then her partnership with Nick was second. Now, I know that sounds harsh, but just hear me out. I also think that she has never thought about being in a romantic relationship or falling in love. I think that's never, been an implication that she would ever have that in her life. And I think the same thing with Nick, that these two characters never had any romantic experience or relationship experience, and probably don't even know the feeling of it. But I think, like, she never had any conception, like, that Nick would have feelings for her, or that would ever happen. She loves Nick, but she's not in love with him yet. I do believe that she's also insecure of her feelings and expressing them, because she is so caught up with being a police officer, solving cases, helping others, and making the world a better place, which that's what I love about Judy Hopps. I think the moment when she got poisoned and experienced a life and death and almost lost someone she cared about deeply, I think that was the moment she starts to realize that she was being reckless, and it almost got her killed and Nick killed. And, like, during the confession scene, I think that was the moment she was like, you're right, I am reckless, I have a hero bunny complex, and I need to take a step back because there are other important things in my life to value more than just being a police officer. And one of them is my partnership with Nick. When Nick says, like, you're the best thing that ever happened to me, I care about you, no one in the world matters more to me than you do, you could see the look on her face, like she's in shock, like, oh wow, that's how much I mean to you, or I never really thought that. I didn't know I meant that much to you. So I think when she starts to realize that, and then, be more open-minded and maybe working more as a team with Nick, I think that's when the feelings start to blossom. Like, the first scene I think that started the whole thing was the snowplow scene, when Nick is driving the snowplow, Judy on the passenger side, and they're going after Paul Bird. And then Judy's like, I'm gonna jump. And then she was going to jump, but then Nick grabs her hand. And then, he was kind of being cute of like, togetherness, huh? But the way Judy, her expression, it was like she had a spark. Like, she kind of had this gaze of like, whoa, what's happening? Like, she got bit by a love bug. And the scene that really just says it all is the carrot pen, at the end when Nick gives Judy the carrot pen and it's all fixed and repaired, and he says, love you, partner. And then I think she was trying to like put it on her belt, but then realized it played the recording, love you, partner. So somehow that was recorded, and she's like, like, she's just like, oh, it happened. And then the post-credit scene, that she just keeps clicking the button that keeps saying love you, partner, and she's just having this girl has a big crush, and playing it, and she's like she just keeps playing it, and then the neighbors next to her are like, stop playing that, are you gonna play that all night? Just stop it.
Love you, partner. Love you, partner.
Hey, buddy, you gotta keep playing that all night? Leave her alone. She's proud of herself, but still.
So I think that was the moment she was starting to have a big crush on him. I think being poisoned was the worst, but the best thing that happened to her. Because that was the moment of realization for her, what opened her mind to be less reckless and to value her partnership with Nick and not be so focused on being a police officer. And I think now it was when she was allowing other feelings to come around, and one that she probably never felt before, nor about anyone. People have said, like, you know, who fell for who first and then who fell harder. I think Nick fell first and Judy fell harder. I don't know, maybe she doesn't know that Nick feels the same way, and she'll find that out sooner or later, maybe in the third one. Now, recently I mentioned, you know, a while ago that there's a lot of parallels that is connected with another animated couple, you know, that have also dealt with people, you know, thinking like, oh, they're not going to be a canon, they're not going to be together, that the sequel didn't confirm it and they didn't have a kiss scene, but they kissed in the third one, and other issues that are connected with, you know, Nick and Judy. And that is Branch and Poppy from Trolls. When Trolls World Tour came out, which is the second one, I remember people saying so many similar things with Zootopia 2, like they didn't kiss, they're not officially together, there's not a lot of romance, and, you know, not just the romance, but people's issues with the characters, with Branch and Poppy and their development. Crazy for me that there's so many similarities with the chemistry of Branch and Poppy that is with Nick and Judy, and that both of it happened in their sequels. Poppy and Judy are so alike, you know, Poppy focused so much of being a good queen, Judy focused so much of being a police officer, solving cases and making the world a better place. They both don't fully realize how their man truly feels. And both times people thought the same thing with the females, that they were selfish, they were careless, reckless, and they didn't care about their male individual. And same thing with Branch and Nick. You know, Branch has dealt with loneliness, depression, had a traumatic moment as a kid, you know, when he lost his grandma, struggles with expressing his feelings, especially towards Poppy. Nick dealt with, you know, trauma as a kid, you know, with the Junior Ranger Scouts, being alone since he was 12, never had anyone in his life that accepted him for who he was, and has a hard time expressing himself or sharing his feelings to Judy due to his insecurities. And very similar scenes and dialogue, you know, Poppy and Judy focus on accomplishing their missions while Branch and Nick encourage them to stop. You know, Branch and Nick, you know, become overprotective and have a hard time expressing themselves. They both try to help the other even though they don't fully agree with them or they want to do something different. You know, Branch wants to protect the village and their friends, and Nick wants to run away with Judy as fugitives and just change their identities and live in Outback Island drinking pina koalas. And these two both had similar arguments, which both ends with the female saying, maybe we're too different, and both times they get separated. And then Nick and Branch, they both say, you know, similar things. You know, Nick says, you're the best thing that ever happened to me. I care about you. No one else in the world matters more to me than you do. Branch says, why do I care about you more than anyone else in the world? And both times, Judy and Poppy had that moment of realization of like, that's how they feel about me, or, oh, I mean a lot more to you. And Branch and Nick, you know, they don't want to lose them. They are scared for the love of their life to get hurt. They both sacrifice themselves to save their mistress. You know, Nick takes the fall along with Paulbird while giving Gary the anti-venom and willing to fall to his death. And then Branch took the hit when Barb wanted to transform Poppy into like a rock troll, and he just stands right in front of Poppy and then takes the hit. And then at the end, they both accept each other's differences. You know, Poppy tells Branch that she loves that they're different, and Nick says, I don't care if we're different, I only care about you. And then, you know, both times Branch and Nick says, I love you to their girl. And then like with the kiss, you know, Branch and Poppy didn't kiss in the second one, but they did in the third one. And I think it's going to be the same thing with Nick and Judy, even though people doubt that, but I really believe it's going to happen. And it's similar when people, you know, said that, you know, the animators are not going to be able to do it. It's going to be impossible. But then they did. And I'll admit, you know, I was one of those people that was like, no, we're not going to see Branch and Poppy kiss because their heads are too big. And guess what? The animators were able to do it. And I'll admit, I also felt the same way with Mr. Wolf and Diane Foxington. Like, it's different, but I actually didn't expect we would actually see them fully kiss. I mean, I know they were going to be together, but when I saw them kiss, I was like, oh God, they actually did it. And if people can make fan arts and drawings of Nick and Judy kissing and it looks normal and it looks beautiful, then the animators can do it. And I'll keep saying it. There's no doubt in my mind that Nick and Judy are going to be a canon. It's definitely happening. Like, even like the directors are mentioning the romance, they are aware of WildeHopps. Even like the actors Jason Bateman, Jennifer Goodwin, like I've heard some of their interviews that, you know, the reporter has asked them about WildeHopps, so they're even acknowledging it, and they both are like, oh, we're open to it, you know, we're both open to anything, especially the romance. I have to say, I'm actually genuinely surprised how much WildeHopps is almost becoming a canon. Because at first I was like, maybe Disney just wants this to be a buddy cop movie that has no romance. It's just involved with a fox and a bunny being good friends and accepting each other's differences. But no, I think throughout the years, so many people have expressed themselves on social media that Nick and Judy should be a couple, and there's a lot of romance in the air, and the directors are noticing about it and noticing how people feel about these two, and I decided to take our side. This could be Disney's best love story, because this is not another fairy tale. It's not another princess and prince love story that has fairy tale creatures. This is a non-fairy tale love story about two different animals that are natural enemies and how they slowly bond into something more, and how two different animals go through all these obstacles and then fall in love. And enemies to lovers is one of my favorite kinds of love stories, and this would be the best. Like, I just love how we started off with them being enemies, and then, you know, they slowly, you know, get along and then become really good friends, and then it just starts to escalate into something a lot deeper than friendship. I personally miss romance in animated movies, and I don't know why, but there's something about romance in animation movies, especially Disney, that is so beautiful to watch. Like, I grew up with Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, and I don't know, I feel like I love romance in animation movies a lot more than live action movies. Like, I don't know what it is, but it just feels so different. I hate when people say, like, not every male and female need to be together or need to be romantic. They could be friends as well. When was the last time we ever had a romance in animation movie or Disney movie? The last time I can think that had romance in a Disney movie was Elemental. Plus, that was the last kiss scene that we had was Elemental, which that's another thing I miss. I miss kiss scenes in animated movies. I miss them so much. And guys, we have a lot of male and female friendships. We have Moana and Maui, we have Woody and Jesse, we have Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope Von Schweetz. And everybody's saying that the way Nick and Judy interact with each other can be platonic too. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen any of that kind of interaction and tension in any of those male and female friendships. Like, name one. I can't think of any like similarities that, oh, Moana and Maui have the same interaction that Nick and Judy have. No, they don't. And it's just like, I don't care about the age gap. You get my point. You know, I'm not really gonna thank Disney for this. I'm thinking more for the directors, you know, Brian Howard and Jared Bush, you know, for listening to their audience and supporting the idea of WildeHopps, and knowing that a majority of people want that and decide to go with it, which I personally think is smart, because I think it would be dumb if, like, I feel like 90% of people ships them and only 10% doesn't. So I think it would be dumb if they're like, we'll just go with the 10%. And, you know, so I think it was smart. They're like, okay, a majority of people want this. Okay, we're going to go for it. And it's a value lesson for filmmakers and directors that it's not always about what's best for the company or best for money-wise, but also what's best for the audience. And, you know, they could have been like, no, we're not gonna do that, or be like some people that's like, that's not how nature works, or, oh, that's impossible. Well, DreamWorks was able to have a donkey and a dragon procreate, so I think it's not that hard for Disney to do the same for a fox and a bunny. I am definitely looking forward for Zootopia 3. I also think we're gonna go more in depth with Nick and Judy and the romance start to blossom even more. And I personally think we'll have a more focus with Judy going through these emotions of having romantic feelings for Nick, because this movie in the first one, we were seeing a lot more with Nick. Now it's Judy's turn. Like, she doesn't know how to express it, or she thinks Nick doesn't feel the same way about her, or maybe she doesn't know it's romantic feelings. And I don't know, this could also be an interesting one, that maybe she's worried that her parents won't accept it. And, you know, I can actually, like, picture a scene, like, you know, that she talks to her parents and, you know, asks them that if they will still love her for who she is if she fell in love with someone that wasn't a bunny. I can actually picture that scene, and it would be pretty emotional to see that. If Disney does this, they'll be making history again. You know, the movie will make history, the love story between Nick and Judy will be so memorable, and everyone all over the world will go nuts over it, and I think it's worth it. And if you don't see that or believe that, well, agree to disagree. So that is the end of that video, so I hope you enjoyed it, guys. And I know there's a lot of other stuff that I probably haven't mentioned in the video, such as, you know, deleted scenes, you know, other merchandising, and probably more interviews with, like, the directors and the cast, and, you know, being asked about WildeHopps and what are their thoughts about, you know, with Nick and Judy. So I know after posting this video, there's gonna be so much more evidence out there that proves that WildeHopps is happening. If you ship Nick and Judy, and if you have some evidence that I haven't mentioned in the video, please put it down on the comment section, and furthermore, it will support my statement. And if you're an anti-shipper, did this video change your mind? Or are you still believing that it's platonic? If you still think it's platonic, no hard feelings. But yeah, that is all for today's video, so I hope you really enjoyed it. And please let me know down in the comments if you ship Nick and Judy or not. And if you have any theories of Zootopia 3 and what's next for Nick and Judy, I really would appreciate that. So yeah, so like my video, subscribe my channel, leave comments below what you thought about this video, and you know it. Catch on to the next reaction video. I'll see you later, guys.